What's going on, guys? This is Gibbs, and we're back with some prediction time for the following week. But first, we will recap Rlcs week number 1. What we got right, what we got wrong, what I was surprised about, and then we'll go from there. So, let's get into it. First off, let's go down the North America games. Energy versus Out of Style. I expected a 3-0, and Out of Style showed up definitely better than expected. And I think Energy, they always have this problem where they'll put on high pressure and purposely, like, not go for a goal. Sometimes that works, and, you know, but other times it's like a 1-goal game that could have been a 3-goal game for Energy. And I think that kind of plagues them a bit here or there. It was kind of happening during Game 1 versus Out of Style. But Game 2, Out of Style turned it on. And Game 4, to be fair, they could have easily won 2 of these games. So Energy didn't look the greatest there, but Out of Style definitely showed up. But we got pretty close to our prediction with that one. Next game, we got EG versus Momentum, or CLG. So when I did this, it was Equinox and Momentum, so that's why it's a little confusing. But I figured it'd be a 3-1. It was a 3-2. It was closer than expected, but I was shocked how many people thought CLG would win this. It felt like it was more than like 50% of the picks were going CLG's way. Now, of course, it's hard to tell because we didn't have like an actual vote or anything. But Evil Geniuses, like, I felt like CLG just had to prove to me that they could win before I could pick them, and they didn't show it here. Both these teams didn't look that great throughout this match. This was probably the weakest match out of all of these, but Evil Geniuses bounced back later. We'll see what we get out of CLG next week, but Timmy, he was like non-existent, which, like, Season 3 Selfless, like, Timmy was that clutch factor, and he was non-existent. Dapper didn't play all that well. Miho did decent, so that was good to see from him, but they definitely need to do a lot more to get some wins here. So we got pretty close there as well. Off a game. Another one that we were just off slightly a game. Energy versus Ghost. I figured Energy would take this 3-1, but again, Energy didn't look at their strongest. The one benefit from this series is every game they won by 2 goals or more versus Ghost, and Ghost won both games that were really close, a 1-goal game. So Energy probably had more of a command on this series, but again, they played them really close. Ghost, it's a really solid performance if Energy gets a warm-up game against Out of Style and then comes in, and Ghost almost took them down. So hats off to Ghost for showing up, but they did lose. And again, we were off a game. Next up, we have Evil Geniuses versus Out of Style, and I had this one correct, 3-1. And Evil Geniuses definitely looked better, and again, Out of Style showed up in Game 2, but besides that, they were very, very sloppy, and EG just kind of punished them everywhere. So this was definitely looking like the better EG, and the Out of Style we were kind of expecting, in my opinion. But, yeah, and then finally, Cloud9 versus Ghost. I thought it'd be a 3-0. It was a 3-1, and Ghost almost brought it to 5. This is a very close set. Could have went either way, and Cloud9 comes out with the victory. But again, Ghost really showed up big here. And Cloud9 played pretty well. Torment was extremely quiet, and I feel like they need to get him involved on the offensive side, or just involved, like, in the game at all, just to, like, have the best chance to win North America. And he didn't, like, he did basically nothing throughout the series. And sometimes, like, they can get away with that, but I think eventually he'll have to do some stuff. Now we got some OCE games. No one cares about that. I kid. Just, I don't care about that. Anyway, we're going over to Europe. I kid. Now, we start with Excel versus PSG. Obviously, the upset of the day. Excel coming out 3-1. I expected a PSG 3-0. And, like, Excel just came out on fire. PSG, they like hitting that crossbar. Excel was so weird, though. They looked pretty good on the offensive side, and then would just randomly miss balls. And that was, like, pretty much throughout the entire day. So, we'll see if Excel can continue that form, but they didn't show it later against Flipside, so I'm expecting them to fall back down to where they are supposed to be. Because, like, they could have went 2-0. Like, after being PSG and seeing what Flipside did in the Complexity game, they could easily win 2-0. And Complexity versus Flipside, this was the worst game. Like, I predicted Flipside, and they looked like absolute trash. They looked miserable. And Complexity, it was hard to tell how they looked because they was like, they were playing just random solo threes team, basically. It was just like double commit after double commit, free net for every single shot. So Complexity easily won that series, and honestly, that was like the worst performance we saw the entire weekend was from Flipside in that series. Next up, we had PSG versus Envy, and this was my surprise pick of the day. Unfortunately, PSG decided to blow the game against Excel and not against Envy. This was extremely close. It came down to 1 goal in game number 5, and Envy definitely looked pretty strong and looked like they could be a playoff contender. Probably looked stronger than Flipside, so we'll see going forward how that works out. But Envy definitely showed up. And I was happy that I went with this pick, even though they lost, because it went to 5 and it was by 1 goal. So it was pretty good. But PSG did bounce back, so good for them. And flip side took out Excel. Again, wasn't the greatest series. Like, Excel just randomly missed the ball at times. Like, I think Niels Cook missed one where Flipside took the lead or tied on a face-off, and he just completely whiffs with like 20 seconds left. Like, I don't understand what was going on there, but he also shot really well. He had great shot location throughout the entire day for Niels Cook. And Flipside, they bounced back. It was a lot less double commits and didn't give up a lot of free goals. They made Excel work for their goals, and Excel scored some, but Flipside comes out on top, and that's all you have to do sometimes in Europe is just don't give up the wide open nets. And then the match of the weekend, Vitality versus Complexity. Vitality comes out 3-2 because of Fairy Peak heroics in Game 4, and Freaky had a Game 1 overtime and a Game 5 overtime goal. Pashy did absolutely nothing, and supposedly his controller has been all messed up. Like, he just figured out that it was his controller and not like lag issues. So we'll see if that changes things when he's actually on form. We'll see if that's an excuse, because every time I lose, like, I blame my controller too, so who knows. But Complexity, they look pretty good here. I'm still, like, I want to see more from them, because, like, the Flipside series wasn't that great, and then, say Pashy was handicapped throughout the series, that makes Complexity look a little bit worse, but who knows. So Complexity's still, like, in the middle for me right now. We'll see where they land, but Vitality, this was a big win. And Complexity played pretty well throughout the series. I just want to see how they do against some of the other opponents. And we got that one exactly right, and we got the flip side one exactly right. Moving on, let's go to week number 2, and we will erase all this text. And let's go over some predictions here. So I'm getting a little bit more wild with some predictions. Like, if I think a team can take it to 5 and they're the huge underdog, I'm probably going to take them, just because it's a little bit more fun. So let's go into this. We have Ghost versus Rogue. Well, I think today, actually, like, I'm recording this on Thursday. I'm not sure what time the Vegas thing is, but there's a show match today with Rogue versus Ghost Gaming, and it'll happen already before you see this video. Whoever wins that is probably who I would predict, just because, well, makes the most sense. But I'm going to go with Ghost here. I think Ghost is a better team. I want to see how Rogue does, though. We'll see if that works out for them. I'm going to make these a little smaller here. We'll go GG for, and ROG. ROG. There you go. Good old ROG. So we'll go 3-1 for Ghost. I think they're just the stronger team. I want to see how Jacob fits in with Sizz. Sizz had a career year last season. I want to see if he can keep that up. And Influences actually played pretty well. He had a lot of assists. He was 1 assist off from getting the playmaker for league play. So we'll see how this team works out. I think they just won't have that offensive firepower without Matt. And, like, Jacob can bring that at times, but it's not the same. And I wonder if Sizz can mesh well with Jacob. Sure, they look good in 2v2, but that's a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to give Ghost a 3-1 there. Next up, we got Energy versus CLG. And again, Energy has a relatively weak schedule for this week. Well, they only have 1 game, actually, and they're playing CLG. And CLG just didn't show anything to me last week, and I expect the same here. I'm giving it a 3-0. Even though Energy didn't look that good, like, I think it's still much better than what CLG has showed. I want to see more from CLG, but I don't think that this is the week for it. Well, maybe against Rogue later, but Energy should easily have that win. And then Energy will move to 3-0 and basically clinch a spot already for Rlcs Season 6. Next up, we got Ghost versus EG. Now, this game is going to be really interesting because coming into the day, Ghost is 0-2 and EG is 2-0. And obviously, people think that should be flipped. But like, EG had a really weak schedule week 1. Ghost had a really hard schedule. So this is kind of like that test matchup to see exactly where EG is, exactly where Ghost is. And Ghost will have another one versus Rogue as well. And I think that'll probably help them that they play one earlier. I do think Ghost is better than EG. EG was doing a lot of the bump game in week number 1, and the bump game usually works well against teams that don't have great offense because it's hard for them to counterattack. Well, Lethamir can counterattack on his own if he wants to at any point, and Matt's a really good shooter, and we saw some 0-second goals from him. He was popping off, so I expect the bump plays not to work as well, because if they try for them and miss, or even bump them, and someone else will challenge that ball, then Ghost is going to wind up scoring some easier goals. So I got Ghost game in a 3-1 there, and I think they will even it up with EG going into week number 3. Next up, we got Rogue versus CLG. Again, I just have no faith in CLG right now. I want to see them step up. This is a winnable match. And honestly, like, if they lose this match, they're in deep, deep trouble. Because there's not many teams left that they will have a chance to beat. They'll still have G2, Cloud9. They still have Ghost. And then they have Out of Style. So, like, maybe Ghost? Maybe, but you would think G2 would probably beat them and Cloud9. So, if they don't beat Rogue, they're looking like probably a promotion team at this point. And I think Rogue will come out on top here. I'm going to give a 3-1. I'm not thinking any 5 games right now. I don't think like any of these matches are incredibly close. And then finally, G2 versus EG. The one thing that EG has going for them in this series is that they've already played today. That always helps. And G2, it's their very first game of the entire season. EG will be in their 4th game. So they're in the flow of things, and that might help. JNAP said in the Red Bull article that he did probably a little while back that if Rizzo's uncomfortable, then they tend to lose. And if Rizzo's comfortable and on the offense, they tend to just beat everyone. So EG, if they get their bump game going, it's possible. Like, if they can disrupt Rizzo enough, it could disrupt him on the defensive side, and it opens up the door for EG. But it's JNAPs we're talking about here. He will probably make the difference in at least one game where he does something crazy and gets a win. And I think G2 will probably come out on top pretty easily-ish. But I wouldn't count out EG here. Like, I think this is definitely a winnable series. And honestly, Ghost is a winnable series too. They could wind up 4-0 here. Like, they could be that surprise team trying to shoot for top 2. It's not a bad road that they have. And if they keep up that bump game and if it keeps being successful, it's very possible. And all 3 of those players have been playing extremely well. Chrome is now popping off. He's already got 11 goals after week 1. He had 13 all of league play last season. So I think it's possible that EG could go 2-0 here, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the other teams are just a little bit too strong, and they will fall back down. So G2 will wind up being 1-0. Rogue will be 1-1. Ghost will be 2-2. Evil Geniuses 2-2. CLG will be 0-3, and Energy will be 3-0 after the day. Next up, we're moving on to Europe. Vitality versus Excel. Vitality should easily have this, you would think. But again, Excel started off the day last time with a huge surprise. So who knows? But I think Vitality easily wins this. I'm going to give a 3-0 again. I think Vitality can come out strong. If Pesci has all his controllers fixed, they should be even stronger than they were last week. And they looked really good last week. And they were the only undefeated team left out of the 6 that played that day. So they're looking really good to make a run here. And then next we got PSG and Flipside Tactics. So these are the 2 teams that played 2 completely different games, basically. Like, Flipside looked like crap in their first game. PSG, not as bad, but they did look pretty bad as well. So the inconsistencies, we'll see how it plays out. I have lost faith in Flipside after that first week. Like, Cooks here didn't look good at all. He was, like, passing the ball to Excel during that series a ton when going for defensive clears. He just looked off. Mystic was relatively quiet, and Yukio was doing a lot of double commits. He did have a pretty good shooting percentage. I think he shot 50%. And so when he was getting scoring chances, he was putting them in. But I think PSG is the stronger team. And look, Flipside, like, I just want to see a good showing from them because I've lost a lot of faith in them. Like, I thought they could be that 4th team, like after regional championships, like maybe squeak in there. But right now, it's not looking pretty. I'll give a 3-1. I think they can take a game, but they're not looking all that hot right now. Next up, we got Fnatic versus Excel. This is a beautiful first game for Fnatic. We'll see how Excel is looking again. Who knows? Like, maybe they're looking really good once again. But they did have a lot of weird misses, and I expect Fnatic to punish them pretty easily. And if a Fnatic win this one, probably like a 3-1. It is their first series, and Excel will be on their 4th game as well. Very similar to G2 on the other side versus EG. So there's a chance for Excel for sure. I'm not ruling it out, but Fnatic is definitely a strong team, and I think they should be able to take down Excel. To be fair, I'm always going to pick against Excel for this entire season. Just letting you know now. Next up, we got PSG versus Vitality. This is a big game. So this is a game where Vitality has a chance to go 3-0, while PSG can turn around their season completely and start 3-1. Like, after that first loss. That's it, they beat Flipside, obviously. But Vitality, I think, is the stronger team right now, but this one could easily go either way. I'm going to go with 3-2 here for Vitality, actually. But I just really like Vitality this season. Like, I think they're going to go places, and fair is a god. Simple as that. But this one's going to kind of matter where PSG fell against Flipside, like how well they were playing. Vitality, same thing, a little bit with Excel. But I think Vitality comes out here on top, because PSG looked a little weaker in week 1. Next up, Fnatic versus Gale Force, the match of the weekend, probably. I would say the match of the weekend. And I'm just going to put this out here. I'm just going to do it. 3-2 Fnatic. I know I ranked them 7th, like if you watch those videos. I know I ranked all their players low, but I'm turning a new leaf on Fnatic. I'm starting it today. This is a very troubling game for Gale Force. It's their very first game of the season, and Fnatic, just one match ago, will have played Excel, probably a decent warm-up game where they can get some momentum going. And if Gale Force kind of starts out slow, which they did last season, where they lost some 5-game series, then Fnatic can steal this one. Like, if they can take games 1 and 2, then they'll have to win one more out of the next 3. I think it's very possible. Like, Gale Force is still the better team, in my opinion, but we haven't seen them for a while. And Fnatic is going to have that warm-up game. Like, I think that Excel game is really going to help them to come into this Gale Force matchup. And again, there's 7 teams that I think in Europe that are world-class. That should be really interesting to see how these guys battle it out. Like, Fnatic and Gale Force. Like, sure, I had Fnatic ranked 7th, but that doesn't mean they're a bad team at all. I think they can definitely take down Gale Force, and I'm going to give it to Fnatic. I'm going to go a little wild here, just a bit. Just go for the upset. I'm going to go 3-2. One thing we'll talk about a lot on the desk probably is, like, the interesting dynamic between Maestro and Turbo. Like, if Maestro didn't have exams for the World Championship Season 3, like, where would Turbo be right now? Like, where would Maestro be right now? Like, it would be a completely different scene in Europe right now if Maestro actually was at that World Championship. Like, does Northern Gaming win it? I would say they probably do. But what if they didn't? Or what if they won? Then do they just stay together and all that stuff? So it's, like, really interesting to try and, like, a theory craft. Like, Turbo probably would have made it onto a team, but it probably would have been a lower team at that point, because like, Gale Force wouldn't have seen Turbo at his best, you know, like at the World Championship. So who would have went to Gale Force? Would Northern Gaming, would they have even got Greasy? Probably not at that point. Like, maybe Greasy goes to Gale Force or something weird. Who knows? But it would be very interesting to, like, theory craft what would have happened there. But there we go, guys. Those are my predictions. I would say there's only one super wild one this week. And, of course, it's in Europe. I always do it for Europe, but there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your predictions are down below in the comments, and let me know why I am wrong and why I am a hypocrite on Fnatic. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you at RLCS. We start Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Look up your time zone. We'll be there on Saturday, and then Sunday we start at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time for Europe. Europe's always a fun day. Always. Always some interesting matches that happen. So we'll see what weird upset happens on that day. Excel's playing twice again. Maybe they do it again. But that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like these videos, and if you want me to change it up at all, just let me know. But I think it's probably how I'll do it. I'll do a quick recap and then a quick predictions every Friday. But thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.